favorite Bible verse is Romans 8:28. For we know that all things work together for good for those who love God and those who are called according to his purpose. And my wife's favorite Bible verse was Matthew 6:33, which says, Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto thee. And we live by that, and it's in our heart. We thank God for it. Yeah, hello, my name is Louis Charles Caesar Jr. I was born July the 26th, 1948. And I was born in Yazoo City, Mississippi, at a Afro Hospital. And so that's where I was born, and I basically born there. I stayed there about 2 years, and then came to my dad went north to Chicago with so he sent for me and my mom and my brother who was still in the oven, Larry. We were 2 years apart. So when he sent for us to live in Chicago, I was 2 years old, and like I said, Larry was probably still in the oven. So and so I kind of grew up a little bit in Chicago until he was able to use his VA. My dad was able to use his VA to purchase a home in Gary, Indiana, and so we moved from Chicago to Gary. And so my dad had a rough time with his jobs and stuff. So no sooner did we buy the house in Gary, Indiana, that we have to move back to Chicago. So we rented out the house, and eventually grew up about 3 or 4 years. I was about 10 or 11 in Chicago, and we decided to go back to Gary to live. And for the rest of my life, up until as a teenager, basically I lived in Gary, Indiana, and went to not only went to elementary school and middle school and high school, and did some college. I did attend some college and Purdue University. Graduated from Roosevelt High School, and then I went to Purdue University for about 6 months, majoring in engineering. That was a heavy task for me, so I said, well, this is too much school for right now. I should just get out and spread my wings for a little bit. So I stopped school, but that was in the middle of the Vietnam War, and so they couldn't. Everybody was being drafted from Gary, so I said, well, I might as well go ahead and join the Air Force before they recruit me for the Army. And that's what I did. I joined the Air Force, and I asked the recruiter, I said, do I have to go in right now? And he said, no, whenever you're drafted, just come on and we'll save you a spot in the Air Force. So I said, okay. So I worked in the United States Steel Mill for about a year and a half, and lo and behold, I got the notice to come in. I was drafted. I want to diverse back a little bit to my childhood. I was doing my high school, basically doing my high school years, and in part of my middle school years, I was a paper boy. That was I was the number one paper boy for Gary, Indiana. I got all kind of honors and accolades from being the number one paper boy. I was a paper boy for over 5 or 6 years, and got many pictures taken in the paper, local newspaper and everything. I had a route of about, my customers, about close to about 125 to 150 customers. So getting back to Air Force, I was drafted, and so I went to by the Army, and I went to take the physical, uh, the Army physical, and I passed. And then I said, "Wait a minute! A year and a half ago, I remember taking Air Force test and passing it." So I called my recruiter, and I said, "Guess what? The Army finally got a hold of me." He said, "Don't worry, you're going to the Air Force." And I said, "Oh, thank you." So I went to the Air Force. First plane ride I took, I was 19 years old. Flew from Chicago to Texas, San Antonio, Texas. Went to Lackland Air Force Base. Had that was 6 weeks of training at Lackland Air Force Base. And for my technical training, I went to Keesler Air Force Base. That's in Biloxi, Mississippi. And once I got my technical training, they say, you can go anywhere you want to go now in the world. I said, well, they said we give 3 choices. Out of my choices, I got one choice that I picked, and that was Japan. And so I went to Japan for almost a year and a half. And that was in 1969 to 1970. And then they said, okay, well, your tour of duty of Japan is over with. Now you can go. Where do you want to go next? I said, well, what about Italy? That's on the other side of the world. So I said, I might as well go to Europe, since I've been in the Far East. And so they said, okay. So I stayed in Italy for a year and a half. So I went all up and down Italy and parts of Rome and Florence and Naples, Capri, all the ports of of Italy. And then I also went to Greece. I had a favorite place in Greece, the island called Corfu, that it was very beautiful. And every other month I would go there and ride my little moped around the island and just hobnob with the residents, the natives there, and it was fun. Very fresh air and stuff. So that was my duty. My job was in the Air Force. I was a administration specialist, which is a good job to have during the war. All that push was just data entry, and that was where you had the data entry and all that top secret stuff. I was in the United States Air Force Security Service, so they had to go. Good thing I was a nice paper boy growing up, because they had to do an FBI check on me to see if I was a good guy in order to give me a top secret clearance. And so basically, I was a professional spy. handled a lot of top secret information, and and so after my tour in Italy, and like I said, I did go to Greece a lot. And matter of fact, when I turned 21, I did go to Athens, Greece, and so that was very fantastic. I just took off a whole week and went to Athens and saw the Parthenon and all the sites. Mars Hill, the one that Paul stood on, and it was just incredible to see all the features, the Greek art and so forth, and festivals and so forth and so on. So that was my tour. My last tour, of course, was Sunnyvale, California. Where in the heck is Sunnyvale, California? I've heard of Hollywood and Los Angeles and places like that, but Sunnyvale, and they said it was close to San Francisco. So I said, oh, I heard of San Francisco. So my last tour of duty was Sunnyvale, California, at a place called Satellite Test Center. And so I put down my roots there in Sunnyvale, and it was beautiful areas of California. It was. I heard a song once saying, "Have you ever seen rain coming down on a sunny day?" I said, what? And so one day I was driving in California and I saw rain coming down on a sunny day. And not only did I see rain coming down on a sunny day, I saw rainbows and everything. I said, oh man, this is like God's country. So clean and fresh and air, I said this would be a good place to put down my roots once I get out of the Air Force. And lo and behold, in 1972, actually April 1st, 1972, where I started college, junior college at De Anza College, but I actually got out of the Air Force on March 31st, 1972, and started going to De Anza College as a full-time student, and then eventually graduated from De Anza College with an AA and liberal arts because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I went to use that to go to a 4-year college, which is the San Jose State University. So I went there in 1974 and graduated in 1976. So that basically, I got intrigued with real estate because it was a friend of mine who had bought a house. He was a college student too, but of course he had another job, but he was able to buy a house, and it seemed like real estate was going up so fast in California. So I said that would be a good profession to get into. So I decided to get into real estate in 1978. I got my license, but really I made my big money in 1984, and that was when I started specializing in veterans, helping veterans, because I was a veteran myself. And lo and behold, I sold enough houses to get me a house. So in 1986, I was able to buy a house. But before then, doing the California lifestyle, I was in the dating scene, and my mom always said, "Are you in church?" I said, because I grew up in church. My parents always wanted me to go to church every Sunday. I said, well, no, I'm not really going to church that much, And she said, well, I want you to be in church. So when I started going to church, I met my wife, and her name was Stephanie. And I met her in 1980. And in 1983, we got married. And so that was a beautiful thing. My dreams was always to get at least a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a little picket fence or something, 2-car garage, and have a couple of kids. And that was my dream. And lo and behold, 1986, I got my house, put a little fence outside, and it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it had to have a fireplace. It had a fireplace and a 2-car garage, just the way I want. And a few years later, 1988, we had our first son named Lewis, and I named him after me. He was Lewis the Fourth. And then 2 years later, we had another son. His name was Christian Carl Caesar. So I got my dream. I was blessed to get my dream. I was blessed to get my house and my 2 boys and the house just like I wanted and everything. And God favored me with a beautiful wife. And that's, what can I say? We traveled. We did everything families did. We going to do. I supported my boys throughout their activities in school, went to all their games, basketball games and soccer games and so forth. Whatever they did, we supported it. We supported them 100%. We wanted them to succeed. We even had them take tutoring classes and Kumon, the Kumon educational for math and so forth. We always wanted them to be their best and do their best. And that was our goal. Stephanie and me were cheerleaders for their success. Whatever success they had was our success. And so we still gleaming as of today. We are still gleaming of their success. Me and Stephanie were happily married, and we were happily married for 33, going on 34 years. But unfortunately, she got sick, and the Lord took her home in 2017, and May 11th, 2017. But we figured that we know for a fact that she's still in heaven, looking down on us and cheering us on to whatever we have, our life will turn to. We are so grateful for what she instilled, not only in me as a husband, but into the children. They live what the principles that she taught them today, and that she taught me today, to just go on and live our life and live our best life. Me and Stephanie always wanted a girl, but we said we're going to let our boys handle that. And lo and behold, Lewis, my son, he has now producing me a granddaughter. And I was so happy, because that was one of the things that me and Stephanie always wanted, was a girl. And now we're getting our girl in a few weeks, and her name's going to be Stephanie as well. So we are just so happy and elated. So that about wraps up a little bit about me and my dreams and goals. I want to read something in this book. You know, took many lessons, and went to many motivational speakers, in the real estate life and stuff. And, I want to just digress and let you know also that I was the oldest of 8 children in the family. Not only was me and my brother Larry, but I had other brothers and sisters as well. So I was the oldest of 8. But I want to just digress back and let you know a book that I was reading called The Prayer of Jabez. It was a book that was taught at my church, which is Cathedral of Faith. And it was a prayer about Jabez. Jabez was in First Chronicles 4:10, and it said, "And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, Oh, that you will bless me indeed, and enlarge my territory, that your hand will be with me, and that you will keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain." So God granted him what he requested. And the reason I had to mention this book is because Jabez was born in pain, but God saw he was born, his mother named him pain. That's what Jabez means. But he used this pain for greatness. And God blessed him accordingly and gave him everything that he desired in life. And that's what I wanted. I wanted everything that God has to give me in life to be my best self. Even though living sometimes is painful, and you have to go through a lot of things, so they call it growing pains. But God is always there. He's always faithful to restore you and to sustain you. So I wrote in this little book, which is a little journal book, just a couple of paragraphs, and this will kind of capitalize my thinking. It says, I wrote down, God, please help me see what a lavish feast of your blessings really would look like in my life, and how it would change me for your glory. Lord, no, I pray that I don't receive nothing in this life that you don't want me to have. I also ask you to bless me with everything that I need to get through this life. And I said, Lord, lavish me with your blessings from on high. And then I said, Lord, please let me not only be a blessing to you, but to my family and to my job and to others. And then I said, Lord, use the best in me to produce the best you have for me. And then I said, Lord, please let my boys, Lewis and Christian, be a blessing to me. And then I said, thank you, Lord, for my wife, Stephanie, being a blessing to me and the family. And basically that kind of capitalized my beliefs. I'm a Christian, and I was a deacon there in my church at Antioch Baptist Church for over 33 years, and then I started going to Cathedral of Faith, where I am this Tuesday I will become official chaplain, and I minister to convalescent homes right now, and also and the people in the convalescent home. I have over 20 to 30 people who depend on me, seeing me every Monday to cheer them up and to inspire them and to pray for them. And also I'm enjoying retirement right now. I'm retired from real estate and sales. My sons have taken over for me in sales. He's the #1 salesperson now in his company in Cisco, and they're venturing on aggressive entrepreneurship of the Ticket DM app that they're starting, Lewis and Christian, and I've been praying for their success. And with the Lord's help and with His favor, He will smile on them. And of course, Stephanie from above put in some good words. I know they're going to be totally successful in their app with the Ticket DM, and we're just happy. And that kind of wraps up my what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm enjoying retirement. I'm going to enjoy my future granddaughter, and I know I'm going to spoil her and then send her back to Lewis and Vivian. And I'm just so happy for them, and I'm happy for my life right now. So thank you for taking the time to ask me. Do you have any questions to ask me at this time? If not, then I just want to thank the Lord for a beautiful life and a wonderful life. It has been a wonderful life, and I have enjoyed this interview.